everybody. What the flick? No, we didn't cancel the reviews of The Flash. We are back. I'm done with my knee surgery. Francis Maxwell is denimed out. Alonzo Duralde couldn't make it this week, but we're going to catch up on The Flash with episode 96. What the hell? Episode 206, Enter Zoom. 207, Guerrilla Warfare. 208, Legends of Today, and the tie-in episode of Arrow, Legends of Yesterday. So stuff happened. A fair amount of stuff. Yep. It's been kind of eventful. We had, they took down Dr. Light. Fun. Didn't know she was a doctor. Then Zoom paraded Barry Allen around all of Central City. Yep. Grodd came back and they sent him to an alternate reality, which has many hyper-intelligent gorillas, so we can finally get our Gorilla City. And now we have Hawk Persons and Vandal Savage.
Yeah. Well, the first part, what you mentioned there, was Zoom kind of redefined what it's like to embarrass someone. Like, he not just take them in like one spot and parade them in front of the city. No, he goes to every kind of department where he could embarrass you. He goes to the media, you're going to get your pictures taken. He goes to the police office, everyone sees him. Like, that episode for me was a turning point in the season. I thought it was great so far. But
I love that you think it's about embarrassing. It is about embarrassing him, but now all I can picture is Zoom going, "Hey, Flash, what's good?" And Flash is like, "What?" Like on the Emmys.
And it's like, as I was saying, it was like a turning point. I honestly enjoyed the season so far, but I felt like it was missing that kind of core storyline, that core antagonist like we had last season with that whole discussion between Wells, whether or not he was going to come clean. And this season, I felt like for the first time, Barry is really threatened. And I mean, he has been threatened before, but this time, he's petrified of this guy. Well, he can't compete.
It's tricky because last season, not only did you have Reverse Flash, it was awesome, but he was also the person who killed Barry's mom. So there was this personal quotient to it. Not only was he faster than the Flash, he had killed his mom. What are you going to do? So how do you make the next villain even bigger? Their solution seems to be make him that much more powerful, make him that much more unstoppable, and have him voiced by Tony Todd, which always helps.
Yes.
But I'm still wondering, like, we got to take off the mask and find out he's someone we know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's going to take off the mask and he's going to be Barry Allen, or he's going to take off the mask and he's going to be Oliver Queen or something. Like, you got to do something with that, right? I mean, you're not going to screw us around, right?
Yeah, that's what you got to create some sort of personal, like you said, some sort of personal attachment to it. But what we find out is that not only can take in kind of extreme measures to try and compete with them, you need to try and involve performance-enhancing drugs to superheroes now. They're trying to give them some sort of steroid to get them to go forward to try and compete.
I think we're approaching, and very, very quickly, a very special episode of The Flash in which someone, and my theory is I think Patty is actually going to end up taking Velocity 6.
Yeah.
She's way too engaged, she's way too involved, and they have to find some way to sort of, because she's too perfect for Barry right now, so we have to find some way to distance them from each other so that he can inevitably end up with Iris in season 5.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because right now their storyline is going, they're walking off into the sunset right now, and it's starting to make us feel that sort of engagement to it. So you're right, I think that they have to do something to separate them, to put a wedge between them. But it seems like we've got a lot of blossoming romances right now, which is great. I'm glad to see Cisco sinking his teeth into, I love their relationship blossoming.
I was about to say, sinking his teeth into what, Francis?
Not sinking his teeth into it, but generally, and he's obviously swooning over, and her character name is?
Shayera.
Shayera. But
well, originally Shayera. I think she's Kendra.
I know Kendra, I just didn't know if she, like, when she embraced that side of her, if that was
Hawk
going to be a
girl.
Hawk girl.
Hawk woman.
Hawk woman, yes. She's grown up.
Jesus.
She jumped herself. That makes her a woman.
Although I will say this, my complaint that she's not Hawk woman, that she's Hawk girl, was dramatically minimized by the way that Supergirl handled that same conversation. Absolutely. Which, by the way, I wish we had time to review that show. That show was really good.
If we had more time,
I really dig it.
If we could split ourselves into,
that's fine.
That's the reason why Alonzo can't, because we get so many shows to watch, right?
Yeah, this takes up more time than you'd think. But before we move on to the legends of so-and-so, I want to talk about possibly the most important moment in the history of the show, the wacky date with did we miss that? Was that before? Was that with King Shark? I'm trying to remember when the
date was.
When he was blind.
Oh yeah, the blind date.
That was a while ago, wasn't it? I think I'm messing that up.
Was that the episode before we had Zoom into the picture? It might have been.
Whatever.
There was a wacky date. I remember exactly what you
They're all starting to blend together. This is why we got to be on top of this. And I'm sorry I had knee surgery. So Legends of Today and Legends of Yesterday, or Legends of Tomorrow and Yesterday. A lot of this show and Arrow this season have been spent building up the spin-off series Legends of Tomorrow. We've had the White Canary come back, or Black Canary come back, but now she'll be the White Canary and Arrow. We've been getting Firestorm back into the picture. Yep. So here we're starting to meet the Hawk persons who have the most horribly convoluted backstory in the history of comics, because not only are they the resurrected souls of Egyptian priests, but they're also from another planet.
Yeah.
Like, Jeff Johns really had to bend over backwards to make that make sense. Yeah. We're clearly going with the ancient Egypt bit. We got Vandal Savage, and this is not his origin from the comics. He was a caveman in the comics.
Oh, okay.
And then they sort of took the origin story that they invented for Shadow Thief for the Justice League Unlimited animated series and just gave that to Vandal Savage.
Yeah.
I love how you said, yeah, like you know what I'm talking
that's why
about.
I feel like this is why I love doing these reviews, because I'm coming in from a fan, but I'm also thinking the comic book encyclopedia right here to try and figure out.
So, look, here's the bottom line. This is what we're going with.
Yeah.
So this is what we've got. Vandal Savage steals souls, and that's how he lives. He's the Kurgan, basically, and let's just go with it.
He's like Hocus Pocus. That's how he stays young. There you go. I know you were looking for that analogy.
I was looking for that analogy.
That's how they stay young, and you're so impressed. It's exactly like it. It's Hocus Pocus / vampirism. That's sort of trying to keep themselves young. I love. There's something it's so cheesy, but it's just amazing on screen when you get Arrow and Flash coming together to fight him. Is that a tie? Yeah, that's a tie at the end of the first part of it.
They have a great dynamic.
Yeah,
They've really done a fantastic job of keeping them different and yet giving them a reason to like and respect each other.
But also not afraid to obviously state their authority when it's within their boundaries. Like in the first episode, before we moved over to the Arrow episode, like all of us get every right to be upset. Like he came in without notice and he dropped basically a fugitive for a Savage who's looking to running away from Savage, and that's going to attract more than anyone else. And he said that probably one of the most convincing lines: we don't have superpowers.
Yeah.
We have great weapons. We're intelligent. We're athletic. We're good fighters, but we don't have superpowers. And you're putting up against someone who's like a myth, someone who's immortal. And that for me was a turning point. Like Flash at that point, it spoke to me is that Flash is petrified from Zoom, that he can't feel that he can protect everyone anymore. He's going through this sort of conflict with his own conscience. So he's looking to lean on other people. And then when he does, he's putting them at risk as well.
It intrigues me when these shows sort of take on, like the characters from one show take on a slightly different tone when they're in another. The guest appearance from Damien Dark in The Flash is so much jokier than he is. Because he's not an unfunny character, but he is like hostess cupcake stealing. Just like, I will steal your hostess fruit pies. No, you won't, says the Green Arrow. Like, that's what we might as well have been in The Flash. So that was very, very cute. It bothers me that we just had a storyline about how Barry is not fast enough.
Yep.
And it's an important enough storyline, then they think it's going to go on long enough that they need to develop a serum to do it, and yet he's still fast enough to go back in time.
Yes.
That kind of bugs me.
And that's where I'm still trying to come together with the stages of his speed. Like, so if he can go back in time and Zoom, it can run according to the studies that they have run, he's 3 or 4 times faster than the Flash. And what is the length of his? Where can he run to? Where can Zoom? What is the length of Zoom?
Can he break the fifth dimension? Does he run out of our TVs? Like, how does he do this? You can run fast enough to go back in time. How much faster do you need
to run? It's hard to gauge in superhero world. What is the next level you can go to? Like, if he's always trying to get faster.
I'm confused because they say, like, what's the fastest he's ever gone? Mach 2. Mach 2 sends you back in time? We can go Mach 2. That's not even outside the realm of planes have done that.
Super jets, so you just don't know it, but jets have been circulating through time nonstop. They've just been going so fast, they just keep coming back around.
Yeah, it does bother me, like, because one of the things, when they introduced time travel last season, there were consequences for it. Like, there were negative consequences for it, and that kind of put the show back in its place, because you can't just go back in time every time something bad happens and fix it. There will be a negative consequence. Here, there isn't.
Yes.
We just save the day, and the only thing is that Oliver doesn't make the right decision about telling Felicity, but even that hasn't backfired yet. And so it's not really helping at the moment dramatically.
That is a frustration right there, because the butterfly effect in that episode of the first season was such a compelling storyline, because it completely changed how Iris and the Flash were going to take their future together. Because
Absolutely.
That was a pinnacle moment. We knew something was up. Remember that episode when they just started, they got together so quick in that episode, and we were like, great, it's finally happening. And then before it started to unwind and we pulled away what was eventually heartbreak for us all.
There was a great moment when everyone died. And there was a part of me was just like, what I love about these shows, and I started noticing this in Arrow, they don't fuck around. They burn through story really, really fast. And there are many episodes of Arrow or The Flash that, again, halfway through, I think, wow, that was a great episode. It's only halfway done.
Yes, exactly.
Like, if they had ended on that cliffhanger, which is everyone dying and Barry going back in time, that would have been a decent episode.
Absolutely.
And it would have been any other episode of television. Like, no, it was really, really great. I'm not sure how I feel about the Hawk people. I think the Hawk man in particular is a bit on the generic and bland side. He reminds me of Jai Courtney.
Oh yeah,
generic and bland.
Say that. Good analogy.
Yeah. So I'm glad because a lot of shows like this will have a backdoor pilot. I'm glad they're not trying to set us up for a Hawk person show.
Yes.
Because I don't think I could handle that. But on a team dynamic with a bunch of different wild cards in Legends of Tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to, I think that's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, they have a great job of blending both, and they have a great job of turning myself, not an Arrow fan, or I haven't watched it for years, into a very compelling episode. And I think that that's all part and parcel of building, like you said, the Legends of Tomorrow, where we are going to see how these different these superheroes in different realms blend together, because it's not going to be as easy as it was in the Avengers. Avengers 1, they had their conflicts. Avengers 2, we're all best friends. Like, that's just it doesn't work as easy as that. There has to be some sort of effort to blend everyone together. That's right. So anyway, sorry we had to conflate so many together, but we needed to catch up. We will be back, I think it's next week, with a big Christmas episide. Yay! What's your betting that they'll sing karaoke? Because we've not had a karaoke episode in a while. I think Christmas karaoke sounds good to me.
I like it.
What do you think he'll sing?
Rudolph. I'm trying to think if there's some sort of Run, Rudolph.
There you go.
There you go.
That's why we want him.
Run, Rudolph. There you go. Everybody, we'll be back in a flash this time.